Was recently involved in a Facebook conversation regarding rate structures and what people are charging for preventative maintenances and for service calls in the HVAC industry. And it actually brought up an interesting conversation among several different size contractors, and I want to take that off and work from that in this video. Now, setting rates can be done multiple ways, but what I'm trying to get in this video is what goes behind setting an hourly rate and why some of the advertisements we see regarding hourly rates are so ridiculous, and why customers also need to be aware of some of these hourly rates. So let's talk about, we're going to do in this presentation, we're going to do a case study of one small contractor. And this is a fictional contractor, but it gets the point across. I'm not going to share my or anyone else's financial on a YouTube video because it just isn't right. But everyone can take a look and see where they would have differences. And I am not an accountant. I am 100% not telling you this is how you should set a rate. But I just want to give you the thought process. And I also want to make sure that if homeowners and business owners see this, they realize what goes into the rates they're being charged for service. And it's actually an eye-opener when you take a look at it. So we're in this presentation going to look at a small 1 or 2 person shop. It's a service-based business. For most 1 or 2 person contractors, they don't do a ton of installs because that takes more labor and you're tied up on a job while your service customers are without air conditioning or heat. We want to take a look at how you set rates so you're not working yourself to death losing money. What are you worth and what's your business worth? Okay. It's possible to be extremely busy and at the same time putting yourself out of business. We need to look when it's smart to just walk away from a job. We need to look when it's smart to raise your rates and not be the lowest price shop in the areas. We need to look when you actually have to fire a customer. Yes, we all do it. So what goes into an hourly rate calculations? We're going to break each one of these down further, but we have overhead, labor, and profit. Okay, no one's in business to lose money. We have to have profit in there. You think your average grocery store, they run about a 40% profit. Your restaurants are running sometimes 60, 70% profits. But for some reason, there's a thought out there that service companies shouldn't have a profit margin. That's unrealistic. So when we look at overhead, we have to include office expenses, rent, property taxes, phone line, web servers, internet, cell phones. Now, your smaller contractors don't have a ton of these, but still need to count some of them in. We all have insurance costs. State law requires us to carry certain different insurances. We also cannot ignore I'll get to that on the labor side, but with health insurance and stuff as well. We have licensing fees, okay? We have business taxes. We have non-technical and salaried employees. We have advertising expenses, and we cannot ignore vehicle expenses. Hey, we got to get to the job someplace. Okay, overhead includes anything that is not a variable per customer per hour expense. But we have to take a look at this, and it has to go into what we charge per hour. Labor is one of the easiest categories, but people often miss items. It's the hourly cost of the employee. It's not just what you pay them, but you must include payroll taxes, insurance, contributions to 401ks, and any continuing education and your contributions to employee licensing. Now, for a one-person shop, this can be broken up in a few different ways. We also need to include the cost per hour of that employee as paid vacation and sick time broken down over the years. Okay, even if you're self-employed, you have to count on that. You have to get away from it every once in a while. We have to include tool. We have to include boot funds. We have to include anything that we provide the employee. For the owner-operator, what is your time worth? If you were paying yourself as an employee, what are you going to make per hour? Okay, use the information on the prior slide and come up with your costs. You cannot be in business without paying yourself. Profit. Yeah, this is the goal, and it needs to be planned. What is your gross profit margin are you looking for? 50% is a fair number, okay? You're not going to go out of business. You're not ripping off your customers. You're within industry average. 50% is a decent profit margin, okay? Some people can go to 30 to 40% profit margin. So it's rare people can really go higher and be fair. So we're going to go with 50% in our case study. So we're going to talk about a one-person shop, owner-operator in the state of Florida. Okay, they're a certified mechanical contractor. Not that this makes a difference here. They want to take home. Okay, that's without their own personal taxes. They want to take home around $95,000 per year. Okay, and that's a reasonable goal. You really don't want to be in business. Okay, now take home from a company perspective, that's gross wages. Okay, that is not including their own taxes. Okay, so they're going to pay taxes on that 95. It's a service-only business, very few installations. Okay, again, an owner-operator has a tough time sometimes with install because of the fact they have to be on the job site and they're losing other business. Okay, so let's take a look at this. Office expense, rent zero. They run it out of their home. $43 a month for a landline phone. Cell service has gotten ridiculously expensive, about $120 a month, cell service and mobile internet. Web service, data plans, etc. is about $200 a month. Okay, that includes the company's websites, the service operating website, dispatch system, and everything having to do with data and internet. Business insurance is required. Okay, you've got to have general liability insurance. You got to have additional insurances. It's about $750 a year. This contractor has a very good rate on insurance. Workers' comp, again, it's required. It's about $1,800 a year at a minimum. Okay, and the minute you add employees that is not yourself, that goes much higher. Advertising, about $120 a month. And again, that's a planned expense, so that's in overhead. Contractor license in the state of Florida, it's every 2 years, but we're going to plan about $125 a year. Business taxes, about $200 a year. We have some continuing education requirements in the state of Florida. It's about $100 a year. Okay, vehicle expenses, we're only including insurance and repairs. We are not including gas. Okay, so we're going to say about $2,500 a year. Okay, so we have to take this all and add it up. Okay, it comes out to be about $11,271 a year. We're going to divide that by 12 months for $939.25 per month. We're going to divide that by 20 working days per month. That's $46.96. Now, some people are going to say, well, that's way more. That isn't the true number of working days. Well, that's an average. Okay, divide that by 8 hours per day, so that's $5.87 per hour, just in overhead. Now, let's move on to labor. In the case of this contract, it's a one-person shop. Contractors have to look at what their own pay goals are. We said it was $95,000 take-home, including profit margin. Okay, first, let's remove the profit margin of 50%. We'll deal with that later. So divide the 95 by 1.5. Okay, we're going to round this to 64,000, and that's the number we'll work at with what they need to make in terms of base pay. Divide it by 12 months, that's $53.33 per month. Divide it by 4 weeks in each month, that's $13.33 per week. Divide it by 40 hours, that's $34 per hour. Okay, that's without profit, what the labor cost is. That's gross labor. Now, we have to calculate the payroll taxes. The company side of the payroll taxes is just over 6.5%. So that's $2.38 per hour. We might want to put some money aside for retirement. Company wants to contribute some of this. This is $1.70 per hour at 5%. Licensing costs we're not going to include in this calculation. We've already included that in the overhead. Required continuing education is contractor based in Florida, but still, let's add $100 a year, which comes out to 5 cents an hour education and training. Tool fund, since this contractor is self-employed, all tool replacements need to be included. Let's say $1,000 per year or 52 cents per hour. You can see how this starts adding up. So we can't forget about health insurance. That's about $2,300 a month, which comes down to $14.38 per hour. Disability insurance is good for any self-employed person, $500 per month, so that's $3.13 per hour. Add all of these hourly labor expenses together, you come up with a $56.16 per hour labor cost. Add in your hourly breakdown of your overhead from our overhead calculations, that's $5.87 per hour. So your labor cost without profit margin is $62.03. Okay? So if you're charging anything under $62.03 per hour labor, okay, and you have similar overhead expenses, you're losing money. Now, contractor wants to run with a 50% profit margin, so we take our hourly cost, labor, and overhead and multiply by 1.5. This comes up to $93.05 per hour. Okay, we want to remember this number. It's important. Okay, so that our labor, what we have to charge for labor to get a 50% profit margin and meet our goals is about $93.05 per hour. So we have this hourly rate of $93.05. Okay, let's just say 93 to make things easier. We're going to talk about setting costs here, and we're going to talk about a preventative visit. Okay, so we're going to do work only within a 50-mile radius of the shop. Now, the reality is a lot of our contractors in this area have to go much further. Okay, but we're going to work within a 50-mile radius. So our maximum round trip is always going to be 100 miles or less. Okay, we're going to do a flat rate preventative visit based on 1 hour per system. We're always going to include 1 hour with travel in the hopes that we can schedule multiple close calls together. First, calculate your hourly costs. Hey, the tech is still sitting in the truck, or you're still sitting in the truck. You still have to pay yourself. $93 times 2 hours. Okay, 1 hour on site, 1 hour travel. So my hourly labor and fixed cost is $186 for this call. Okay, it's a preventative visit. Second, we're going to calculate the travel cost. In this case, it's gas because I've taken care of the vehicle costs in my overhead. Okay, so we take our 100 miles. We'll probably 20 miles per gallon. Comes down to 5 gallons of gas at $2.70 a gallon. So we have about $13.50 in gas costs. Now, we got to look at what supplies each preventative uses. Okay, we're going to use a filter, at least one. We're going to use some chemicals, coil cleaners, etc. You're going to hopefully use shoe covers if you're in and out of the customer's house. Okay, and some of these are estimated costs. I'm not giving the exact supply shop costs here, but they're close. Okay, filters, depending on where you buy them and what brands you use, may be more than that. So we're going to take our total cost, which adds up to $5.25, and I'm going to mark it up. Okay, I have to. Okay, I'm in business to make money, but I don't want to mark it up too high. So if we go 50% profit margin, again, that's a fair profit margin, we're going to come up to $7.86. You add all of these numbers, the $186 for my 2 hours labor, the $13.50 gas cost, the $7.86, we come to $207.36. Okay? Now, the reality is, if you go to someone's home and charge them $2 or $276 for a preventative visit, it's not going to happen. Okay, but you have to remember part of a preventative visit is building a relationship with the customer in order to possibly get future replacement work, possibly get that future service work, possibly get a new construction project, and possibly grow your business that way. But the reality is this: if you want to bring home close to $100,000 a year, or 90 some thousand dollars a year, you almost have to charge $207.36 for a preventative maintenance visit that takes 2 hours total time, including travel. So again, this is all that goes into setting your costs, and this is what a contractor, especially smaller guys, have to look at. Now, the reality is that within the first 2 or 3 years, small contractors fail consistently because they're either working themselves to death or they're not charging enough of a profit margin.